Welcome everyone. In today's video, I just wanted to talk about 3 signs that the project tokens that you are currently holding are probably not going to make it over time. Now, what I mean by that is that, you are most likely going to lose money holding onto these project tokens if they qualify for these 3 particular criteria. Now, even if it does manage to make you money over time, you probably would have been better off holding Bitcoin or Ethereum. Now, these 3, general guidelines that I'm going to give here, they are just that, they are guidelines. This isn't financial advice, and I might be bashing some of your bags on this video. However, just keep in mind that this is only my personal opinion and I could be totally wrong. However, I feel that I am right, and I think this is a lot of information that will be valuable to viewers of this channel. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about is fully diluted valuations, and that investing into projects long term that have insane fully diluted valuations in regards to their actual market cap is probably going to be a foolish idea. Now, let me explain why. So if you are familiar with market capitalizations, effectively this just tells you how much a project is worth by taking the circulating supply and then multiplying that by the price per token. So in Oxygen's case, it has a $15 million market cap. However, if we take a look at the fully diluted valuation, this is the true value of all of the tokens in circulation multiplied by price per token. So the actual valuation of Oxygen is $741 million. That's because we take the max supply and then multiply it by the price per token. Now, this is a big problem because the current circulating supply is 200 million and the total supply is 10 billion. Now, those 10 billion tokens are going to be slowly drip fed into the market. Well, I say slowly drip fed, they're going to be forced into the market by early stage investors who want to start claiming a profit, and the team as well, because they have to sell off tokens to cover operational expenses as well as wages for themselves as well. And so this supply is going to make it into the market, and that is going to crash the price per token. Right now, if we just take a look here at a basic supply and demand graph, I haven't marked it off, but this yellow line here is supply and this blue line here is demand. As you can see here, we have an equilibrium price. So this is like the current price of the token. Now, if we are going to introduce a massive amount of supply, effectively what this is going to do is we add another supply line here. And now the new equilibrium is all the way down here. And so the price has gone from, well, let's just say this is 7 cents now. It's now gone all the way down to say like 1.5 cents. So those are just arbitrary numbers, but I think, it sort of just highlights to you what is going to happen if all of that token supply actually enters the market. Now, all of these tokens are going to be sold into the market, and that's an incredible amount of sell pressure that, buy pressure has to overcome for this token to actually go up over time, and there are many such cases of this. So let's take a look at Gala. So Gala is another egregious example. So the market capitalization is 500 million, and the fully diluted value is $3.4 billion. And as you can see here, the circulating supply is far underneath what the max supply is. Another example of this is Merit Circle. So the market cap is 112 million. Fully diluted value is 815 million. And so you can see here the circulating supply and max supply over time. So, over 800 million more tokens are going to enter the market for Merit Circle, and this is just going to destroy the token price over time. Well, that's my belief anyway. So I think if we just take a look at this Merit Circle vesting schedule, so this will give you a better idea of what's going to happen to merit supply over time. So the vesting schedule is just basically showing you how much tokens is going to enter the circulation over time. So as you can see here, upon token generation event, you have about 130 million tokens in circulation, and that will massively increase to $1 billion in circulation in about 4 years' time. And that's a massive amount of inflation, and that's a lot of sell pressure for the Merit Circle token. Now, just to contrast this with Ethereum, for example. Now, the initial supply of Ethereum was 72 million, and that was in 2014. The current supply amount, I think, is roughly 120 million. And that's, about a 66% increase in 8 years. Now, if we divide that by 8, that's about 8.5% increase in the supply of Ether every year. And that's a manageable amount. And, the price of Ethereum has gone up over time. And so we know that that's okay. The smaller inflation rates, the better. Now, the second thing I wanted to mention is DAO Treasuries. Now, a lot of people don't ever consider DAO Treasuries because it's not super interesting and it's not very much, product related. However, it's something that's very key to every project because the DAO Treasury funds, the team. And if they're unable to work on the project anymore, and so and if they're unable to work on the project anymore to keep it running, run the Discord, do advertisements, so on and so forth, then the project's going to die over time. Very few projects actually survive without people there to actually keep it going. And so the DAO makes sure that that all happens. But the problem with most DAOs nowadays is that their treasuries are made up almost entirely of their own native tokens. And you can use a website like DeepDAO to actually check the treasuries of each of these projects. And so DeepDAO keeps a track of like a ton of projects. If you can go down, there's like thousands here that you can go ahead and check, right? But the most popular ones that everyone knows are at the top. So like, Uniswap, Aave, Compound, so on and so forth. Now I want to show you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. So Alchemix. If you're familiar with Alchemix, it's a big DeFi project on Ethereum. One mistake that they made here is that their treasury is almost entirely composed of Alchemix tokens. Now the problem here is that when they want to pay the developers, they have to sell those Alchemix tokens off into the market. And what that does is push the price of Alchemix down over time because the team typically have the largest share of tokens. And when they want to dump, basically it just causes the price to go down. And basically, the next time that they want to go ahead and sell the tokens and raise the same amount, they're going to have to sell a proportional more amount of tokens. And so this just causes even more dumping of those tokens, right? And the price goes down and they're going to have to sell even more tokens to raise the same amount to pay off whoever they need to pay off. And so it's just a death spiral. Another example of this is ENS. So you know what? They have $111 million in their treasury and 97 million is in their own native ENS token. So that's most of their treasury. That's not to say that these two projects will die purely based on this. They might have some other arrangements going on, but it's not looking good when most of your treasury is in its own native token. An example of a project that has a very well-run treasury is Solend. They have $55 million, in their treasury. Most of that is in the SLND token, so about 61%, but we also have a sizable chunk here in USDC, so 34%. And the last red flag I wanted to talk about is product market fit. Now, just go back to the Oxygen example earlier on, right? So Oxygen is a DeFi protocol on Solana. It claims to be a prime brokerage. And basically, for someone as myself who has used Solana a lot, I've never used Oxygen before. I haven't known anyone to ever say that they've enjoyed using Oxygen before. And their $14 million in TVR that they have here, I'm inclined to believe that was early stage investors who were required to deposit into Oxygen, and then in return they would receive discounted tokens for doing so. It was within their investment agreement to actually deposit into Oxygen, because I don't know anyone who's ever used this. I don't know anyone who's claimed that it's a good place to use it. And so that's what I mean by product market fit, right? Are people actually using this protocol? Even in a raging bull market, no one was really using Oxygen. And so it makes me extremely bearish on the future of Oxygen. You can go through DeFi Llama and then just scroll through a list of different DeFi protocols here and just think about the ones that people actually use, right? Now, there are a couple things that, I am bearish on. So under collateralized lending and borrowing, we've seen that that's not really going to work, with Three Arrows Capital, for example, being one of the largest funds in the space and one of the most respected as well. And they ended up blowing up, and now they're $2 billion in the hole because they did a lot of under collateralized borrowing. And so I think a use case like that probably isn't going to survive over time. But as you can see here, There are a lot of DeFi protocols with not that much TVL, and a lot of them don't have that many users either. And so just keep in mind something like that. And another thing that you want to be aware of is, if your project is like the fifth of its kind on the chain. So say you've got like 5 Uniswap clones on Polygon. Are you really going to want to own, 3, 4, and 5 versus like the first and second? Because 3 and 4 and 5 are probably going to die out over time. And that's just the way things are in business and the way things are in crypto. And so definitely just be wary of that. Just to sum this video up, here are the 3 signs that your crypto project is not going to make it over time. The first, it has a ridiculous market cap to fully diluted valuation. Second, its treasury is mostly made up of its own native token. And third, it doesn't have product market fit, i.e. no one's really using it even in a bull market. So thank you for watching. I hope this gave you something to think about, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.